Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, we are starting out a new week, a historic week. We are having some big things happening this week. So, Bitcoin will change forever after this election, and I'm going to show you guys why and show you guys some very interesting facts about Bitcoin that you don't want to miss. So let's talk about everything that's going to happen, everything that will happen, and why Bitcoin will change forever for the better. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. We are starting out the new week. Market bell has just rung, and Bitcoin is 68.3, a little bit lower than yesterday. We are overall hovering within this range now. A lot of volatility, like I've been saying last week and this weekend. A lot of people that are fearful about the outcome of this election. But I'm here to calm you guys down and let you guys know things are going to be good. And here's why. Right now, the market is opening up kind of mixed. Right, a little bit in the red, but overall not to one way or another. I think the price is already baked in, but let's see. Nvidia's up a little bit. MicroStrategy is still down, although I can't explain it. On Friday, MicroStrategy toward the end of the day dumped 6%. Couldn't find any reason why. And then now it's dumped another 1%. And Coinbase down 0.5%. Coinbase was actually up on Friday, but again, MicroStrategy dumped a whole 6% on Friday toward the end of the day. Not sure why. But besides election, which is coming up tomorrow, I did mention this a couple times this weekend, that we do also have a FOMC meeting on Thursday, which not a whole lot of people are paying attention to, but 98% chance baked in that we will have a 25 basis point cut. Overall, that is good. On top of the 50 basis point, that's 75 basis points right off the bat. And we will have one in December too. Most likely 82% chance of another rate cut. So that's a full percentage drop down by the end of this year. Overall, this is part of the liquidity injection that our government is doing to spur up the economy. So this is obviously very good, not just in the US, but around the world, right? When liquidity starts flowing, that's when investments and commodities and everything else starts going up, like markets, like stocks, like Bitcoin, like crypto, and everything else in between, right? It's starting to happen already. But what about this? What about what's going to happen tomorrow, right? I mentioned this already. The market's basically already priced in. Well, it depends on, I guess, who you ask and which news site or which broadcast you go to, because it depends on which side they're taking on. But it does seem like the prediction markets are actually predicting one way or another, which in this case right now, most are predicting Trump are winning. But if you look at least if you look at Bitcoin, okay, you look at the last, basically going all the way to the beginning, and you look at every single cycle that we've had, there's been a lot of switches from blue to red to blue to red, and every single time what happens? Bitcoin continues to go up. It's not like it's done better under one or the other. Bitcoin does not care. Bitcoin is not a person. Bitcoin does not have feelings. Bitcoin just continues to go up. It's driven by code, and it goes up because it's scarce. It's really that simple. Now, of course, I recognize policies does affecting macro conditions, does affect things, right? But ultimately, and those things does affect how quickly Bitcoin could go upwards, yes. But ultimately, Bitcoin goes up because there's more demand than supply. That's it. It was created to be the anti-government, the anti-central banks, anti-establishment. And that's why it has done very well over the years and why it will continue to go well, because no matter who becomes president, it doesn't really matter, because every single one going forward and every single one prior has always ended up printing more money and more money and more money and more money, right? That's why we have inflation. That's why our debt continues to go up in this country. It just keeps going up and up and up and up, and it's not going to stop ever going forward. That's why our national deficit is at 35, now closing at 36 trillion, and it just seems like there's no end in sight. So that is the reason why we have Bitcoin, because it doesn't really matter when it comes to money. At least we know fiat, especially the USD and others, eventually will fail. It will hyperinflate to nothing. Our purchasing power will eventually go to zero. That's why we have Bitcoin. So yeah, policies and macro conditions does affect things short term, but long term, we know Bitcoin will continue to go upwards and forever, because we know the dollar will inflate to nothing. And while it's inflating, it causes goods and services to go up, which ultimately will help assets like Bitcoin do better, right? So this is what I'm saying. If you go back, you look at the cycles, what has been happening, the cycles show that, oops. Oh, I missed one. There was one chart, I closed it out. But anyways, basically bottom line is, if you look at the cycles, every single one, Bitcoin continues to go up, right? So ultimately, that's what's going to happen this cycle too. But here's something else that's interesting. If you look at the last two cycles, you look at what has happened a month before and a month after election day. Okay? What did I say about October or October? People were very bearish about it, but we closed out double digits, 11%. Last year or last cycle, we closed out better, 28%. The prior cycle before that, we closed out 15%. Look at what has happened 1 month afterwards. In 2020, we closed out plus 42%. And then in 2016, a month afterwards, plus 8%. So, green. So this time around, after tomorrow, 1 month later, if you were a betting man or you're placing bets in the prediction market, what would you place your money on? Green or red, right? It's most likely going to be green once again. Usually elections, they're a good thing. Good thing at least for Bitcoin. I think for overall markets too, they're usually a good thing, right? And here's something else that's pretty shocking. Again, this is more of a broader look. This is actually really, really shocking. And if you don't believe in anything else, this is something that you should believe in. And you could even take the elections out of it, because this is more like a cycle thing. But since the Bitcoin halving event occurs on election year every single time, think about this. Every single cycle halving year, which correlates with every single election year, we form a bottom. And that bottom is never ever seen again. And then we go on to form a new high. So if you look at the last bottom, right, was around $13,000. We remember that, right? It wasn't that far. It wasn't far that long ago. It didn't seem like it was that long ago. And the prior bottom to that was $683. And the prior bottom to that was like $10, right? You could see how the bottoms have gotten higher over the years. And then you guys remembered all-time highs, right? About 1,000, a little bit above 1,000, and then you know, slightly under 20,000 to 69,000 from the last cycle, right? And we don't know what the cycle top is at this junction. It could be 200 something thousand, whatever, right? But we're about to form our bottom now, which I guess, I don't know, wherever it is going to be. But bottom line is, the bottom keeps on going higher and the top keeps going on higher. So election day, basically tomorrow, wherever we are, like 68, 69, 70,000, that will be our new bottom, okay? And that is going to be a point, if based on history, we will never ever get to that point again. And then we will set a new top, like 200,000, 300,000. And even if we come back down, we never hit that point again. At least according to history, we have never done that before. That's how crazy things are, right? Like, that's pretty crazy. But again, for those of you guys that live in a moment, that only live in like, you know, weeks time or months time or even a year's time, you may not realize it, but when you're living in, you know, a cycle's time or maybe a few cycles time, then you realize how far Bitcoin has come, and you realize that, wow, just a few years ago, Bitcoin was still in the 20s and 30s, and we saw bottoms below $10,000, below $20,000. We have come so far, and after a few more cycles, we will regret not picking up more under six figures, because in then we will be in mid six figures. We will be used to Bitcoin being at $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. And we will look back at these moments and laugh at how people are scared at 68,000 versus 70,000 Bitcoin when Bitcoin will be at $500,000. It'll be the same way. See, that's the thing. People, I know we all live in the moment, obviously, but when you zoom out a little bit, you realize how far we move within just, you know, a short amount of time. It really moves that quickly. Now, for those of you guys that are rooting for a Trump victory, here's the last time. The last time Trump won, this is what happened. It's amazing to think about. Last time he won was November 2016, and that was when Bitcoin was around $700. That was when Bitcoin was below 1,000, and then Bitcoin didn't stop until it hit $20,000. And I remember that. I remember that because I got back in Bitcoin early 2017 when it first hit 1,000 once again. So I was like right there. I got out of the market in 2014 when it started coming down. It went as low as like $160, but I got out before then. I didn't understand the market back then. I didn't really understand Bitcoin. I think no one really believed Bitcoin that much back then, but some people hodled, and good for them, and they became billionaires. But I started educating myself more in 2017, realized the potential. But still, I didn't believe it as much as I do now, knowing more about money now. So my conviction in Bitcoin has gone up a lot more. But yeah, that was when I truly came in, and I didn't start this channel until the end of 2017. But going back to that, that was the last time Trump won. But that was a very different time than now, because you look at it, that was, you know, if you look at it, it's 100 times higher now. You think about it, that's crazy, right? I know we're not quite at 70,000, but we were. But you think about it, last time he took office, Bitcoin was at 700 and we're at 70,000. That's in 8 years. We go from 700 to 70,000. That's 100x, right? That's not a 10x. That's 100x in 8 years. That's crazy. That's crazy. What about another 8 years? So we're going to do 100x. So that's 70,000 to 7 million. Probably not. We're probably not going to do another 100x in 8 years, but who knows? Maybe with endless inflation, we will. Maybe we will. Anyways, moving on. Right now being under 70,000, you know who's not panicking? Whales. Since November 1st, that's only 3 days ago, there have been 5 whales identified that has purchased $192 million worth of Bitcoin. That's roughly 2,800 Bitcoin. And they are buying at a ferocious rate, right? This is all just DCAing. DCAing under $70,000. And this is what whales do because they think it's a good buying opportunity. Anything under 70,000 to them is a good buying opportunity, and they will continue to do so. And Sailor thinks it's a good buying opportunity, and everyone else that's a mega whale, an ultra whale, and those institutions and everyone else, they will continue to load up. This is still good opportunity to DCA. That's what you do. Even for retail investors, even if you don't have $70,000, you have $100, $100,000, DCA in. Because like I said, in another 4 years, 8 years, when Bitcoin is at $500,000, you're going to feel silly arguing over $60,000 Bitcoin when it's at $500,000, right? And this is showing the trend, obviously, since September, October. The trend has changed. This is part of that cup and handle. We have definitely broken out of the handle. We are moving upwards. It's pretty obvious to see it like this. Yes, we are moving upwards. We were so close. We're 200 points away from breaking our all-time high. We will get back up there. There's no doubt about it. After election, probably right there. And again, on a broader view, this is where we're going. Where we are going, guys. All right. What else is there? What else is there outside of Bitcoin? XRP fans. I don't know why I keep talking about XRP. XRP is the gift that keeps on giving, except it's not giving anything but misery and pain. 21 Shares joins the race to launch an XRP ETF with SEC filing. Like, who is asking for a XRP ETF is what I want to know. Like, no one is asking for this, yet there are people that keep pushing for this. I just don't get it. You know, no one on the planet is asking for XRP ETFs. But we may get them sooner than later. So we'll see. So there's another one. Sui still recording huge amount of inflows, and they're still holding very well despite altcoins coming down recently a lot. But Sui is actually still holding very well. So this is probably the reason why. And then I saw this. Brian Armstrong's a little bit of hot waters. Someone, I don't know who he's responding to, that said that I spoke to a tier 1 project that raised close to 9 figures. And then this guy was like shitting on Binance. After wasting a year of due diligence with Binance, they finally received a listing offer. And he was saying Binance wanted a huge listing fee. And then Brian Armstrong of Coinbase said, well, you know, all listings on Coinbase are free. So, you know, tell them to drop us a line. And then Andre Cronin from Phantom said, oh, that's BS. Binance charges 0. Coinbase once upon a time asked us for $300 million to list. Then they asked 50 million, 30 million, and 60 million. So Andre's like, lots of respect. That's simply not true. And then Justin Sun of Tron also said the same thing. Coinbase required us to pay 80 million worth of Tron and then demanded a 250 million BTC deposit on custody. So that's also like 300 plus million. So it's not a listing fee, but it's a demand to like put money in there. So two big, well-known people came out and said Coinbase, even though they're not asking for a fee, but they're making demands. So that doesn't make Brian Armstrong look good at all. That's all. All right. That is it. US market going down slightly. Let's do, Doge is doing very well today. Up 7%. Yeah, probably because of Elon and Trump. Several alts are actually in the green right now. Bitcoin still kind of holding around where it is. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right. Let me scroll up here. Randy, good morning. Woke up this morning with tornado sirens going off. That's always scary. Let's see. Baylor Bear, if Harris wins, we're going back to 50K, so much slower build back. I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true. I think a lot of people over exaggerate. I do. Because, I mean, just look at this. Bitcoin's going to go up no matter what. It may go maybe one way or another. It's going to be slower, but it's going to go up no matter what. Just look at what has happened before. And inflation is never going to stop with either regime, with either administration. And more people are going to turn to Bitcoin no matter what. Paper hands. That's good. That's a good name. Does ETH need to pump for altcoin season to run? No. I'm not even sure if ETH is going to lead the alts. In fact, I'm pretty sure it won't. I think others will probably pump before ETH will. So I'm not sure ETH is going to pump at all. Will ETH get back to its previous high? Yes. But will it lead the altcoin rally? I'm not so sure about that. I'm not sure about that at all. All right. I think it's fitting to do a poll. But I already know what the poll answer is going to be. I will say though, I'm really impressed with JD Vance. I'm really impressed with how eloquent he is at speaking, and he generally seems like he's a really good person. What do you think about Dubai? You know, a problem with Dubai overall, I might go back actually this week. I was invited to something, so I'm debating if I should go back to Dubai. Unfortunately, I went back during the Great Flood of Dubai. It was like a flood that they haven't seen in a generation. But I survived and it was still okay. It's very impressive. Mostly it's like a few rich, like the city itself, people that live there are really rich, but most people are just like there to work and they're relatively poor. So don't let like, you know, they portray themselves as like this ultra rich like country, but they're really not. It's just like you just have like you know, like 10% of the people there that live there are rich, and then everyone else is just really poor, like immigrants from other countries that are just there to work. Um, but I feel like people in Dubai, all they do is just like show off what they have, and that's it. They don't really have anything else. The whole country just does that. Um, so it's a nice place to visit and spend some time, but like it's not a place I would consider living. I would just visit there, right? But I would not consider moving there. Pepe dead or sleeping? Right now, I just feel like no memes are doing well right now. They're Bitcoin's leading everything. Memes and alts are just like bleeding out like crazy. It's actually quite irritating. Like I told you guys, those of you guys watched my Sunday walk video yesterday. Like I got wrecked with my longs, even like low leverage. Man, when Bitcoin dipped down recently, all the alts just got destroyed. They just keep going down and down and down, man. Like alts and memes right now, No momentum, zero whatsoever. So Pepe's not dead. It's just there's no momentum in them. Like all the retail are so scared to put money in. Bitcoin's leading the way. You just gotta wait. Wait until Bitcoin breaks through into a new high and then retail gets some excitement and then some money comes back in. Debo Beep? No, Debo Deep. By when do you think Bitcoin dominance will drop and memes will start to rally? I think again, when Bitcoin breaks a new high by the end of this year, possibly like this month after election and then like really high in December, I think maybe then we'll see Bitcoin dominance drop a little bit. And then latter half of next year when Bitcoin starts topping out, like if we get to 150, 200,000, that's when we'll really see it. JD Vance being a big AVAX holder, I've never heard that rumor before. I've never heard of anyone being a big AVAX holder. AVAX, by the way, is super, super disappointing. They've just been dropping and dropping and dropping. I don't know why. I think I do know why, because they're supporting games a lot, and games are just super weak right now. DJT unsold it very well. I don't know what DJT is. Trump coin? Why is it called DJT? There's so many Trump coins or MAGA coins. There's too many of them. I would just not participate in any of them because they're all gonna be rugs. Just if you made money, take it out. There's way too many of them. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Donald J. Trump. There are a lot of them though, guys. Don't fall for those memes. There are way too many of them. Ooh, MicroStrategy is about to turn green. That's a good sign. Whenever that happens, that's always a good sign. Oh, the market's about to turn green. That's a good sign. Nino, no, I'm not going to check out that meme. No thanks. Do I have a Lincoln Nautilus? I don't like K-Dub. I don't like any Lincolns. Their seats are weird, and I just don't like Lincolns. I don't know. I've driven all of them, and there's something about them I just don't like. And they're like 19 or 24 way seats, even though Lincoln brags about how you could customize them 100 different ways. I don't like them. They're just not as comfortable. And they look weird, and they have weird interior colors. Not something that I like. Douglas, First of all, don't at me. That's a pet peeve of mine, but I will answer you. Second of all, I don't like quant. It's a B2B play. It's not a B2C play. It always has been, and it always will be. And these days, not a whole lot of people are talking about them. Skipping stones. Can you look at Retardo? I'm not going to look at something that's called Retardo, man. No thanks. No thanks. Have you driven a Range Rover? No. Surprisingly, I have not driven a Range Rover yet. And that's probably because I'll never get one because they all break down really quickly. It's probably the most unreliable car manufacturer there is. And that's why. And I've never reviewed one before either. Oh, no, I have. I take that back. I have reviewed. I have reviewed the Defender before. I take that back. I'm sorry. I have reviewed the Defender before a couple times. And it was nice. Not only Defender, the Evoque too. I reviewed that before. I don't know. I had a brain fart. I have reviewed the Evoque before. Yeah, they're nice. They're nice. But I haven't reviewed the big one, just the regular Range Rover or the Sport or any of those. But yeah, again, I would never get them because they're so unreliable. I have reviewed the Ford Bronco. I love the Bronco, especially the 6-speed. I reviewed both the 6-speed manual and the regular. I know no one will ever get a 6-speed manual Bronco because for daily driving, it kind of wouldn't be great. I think the regular Broncos are 10-speed auto, but a 6-speed manual Bronco is actually really, really fun. Really fun. Cybertrucks, I just saw the other day, you could get Cybertrucks that are the non-foundation editions, and commercially, you get a $7,500 tax credit. So if you could get a $7,500 tax credit for being a commercial, some kind of commercial energy credit, and you could use it as a business vehicle and deduct 100% away, it's actually not a bad thing, but it just looks bad. But at least it's bulletproof. Jerry Too Wavy, good morning to you. The only thing green on my whole list is Dogecoin today. It's the only thing green. Well, near. I don't even know why I'm tracking near. This is just amazing. 8 years ago, Bitcoin was roughly 100x lower than it is now. 100x. That's just crazy to think about. We're below $700 this time 8 years ago. If Trump wins, he could very well help the Indian government with Bitcoin benefits, as India has 100+ million people in crypto already. I don't know about that. I don't know if he's going to help the Indian government. You mean like just because they hold Bitcoin? US stocks just turned from fear to neutral. Does that mean something to crypto? Crypto's fear and greed index is still in greed. That hasn't changed. Yesterday was more greed. Last week is greed. Last month was neutral. So we're still in extremely greed mode. CMC's fear and greed index is neutral. I don't know how they judge it. So it's a little bit different. This is kind of crazy. This is almost unbelievable. The last time we had election in 2020, Bitcoin was at 13,000. That was 4 years ago. And the last time Trump was elected was 8 years ago, and it was 100x lower at 683. And then you go back 12 years ago, it was $10. Even if you go back 4 years ago, Bitcoin was 13,200. And even at our low point, in 2022, 2023, we hit like 15,000, right? We didn't hit that 13,000. So bottom line is, whatever we are at tomorrow, 68,000, 69,000, 70,000, whatever, that could be a bottom that we don't hit ever again going forward. If this holds true, then that is it. That is a point that Bitcoin will never hit again going forward. Even if we come down 80% from our top, it could be a point that we never hit again. It will be a point we'll never hit again. Just take a second to think about that. That's actually quite amazing to think about. We did not hit our bottom of 13,220, and that was the election day from 4 years ago. Indian government's promoting CBDC over Bitcoin. Yeah, CBDC is not good, obviously. CBDC is just fiat because you can always manipulate it. You can print more. CBDCs are no good. CBDCs allow government to track usage of money even more so than fiat. All right, guys. I'll leave it at this to conclude. Tomorrow's a big day. This election will change Bitcoin forever. But I think this is the most important chart for you guys to recognize that whatever price Bitcoin ends up being at tomorrow will probably be a low that Bitcoin will never ever see again going forward. And you guys could see the lows and the highs that Bitcoin has been forming over the last few cycles, and it's not going to stop moving forward. So it's never too late to get into Bitcoin, never too late to continue to DCA, and it's definitely never too late to continue to hodl. So smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight. Let's see where Bitcoin is and prepare for tomorrow. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.